What's something about making love did you not know about until it happened? Story 1. What it feels like, that's it really. I grew up with the internet. I've been watching seriously messed up stuff since I was young, and over-researching everything, so I didn't do it wrong and get embarrassed. I knew that certain girls were super sensitive, but the basic anatomy was studied pretty closely on thousands of online women of every shape, size, and color. I played classical guitar since I was 5. My fingers are extremely agile. So between all the reading, watching, and conciertos, I figured that pretending I was playing Recuerdos de la Alhambra for my girlfriend would work perfectly. And it did. She was so happy that I nearly drowned. First time we were fooling around was in a pool and she had such a good time, but she held me under the water while I squirmed trying to get out from under her and not drown, and the squirming just made her have more fun. Nothing prepared me for that. As you might be able to tell, I'm a super nerd, so I'd done quite a bit of research before I convinced a girl to get frisky at the age of 19, and frankly, it went quite well. We were both first-timers, both had a really good time. It took me about 10 minutes, which, as far as first times go, is pretty good. I did it posh before under hot water to train, and I remember looking at the clock before it began, and then staring at it when I was on my back catching my breath afterward. Some people would say I spoiled the mystery by depriving myself of inept teenage intimacy. But you know what? The first time I did it, I knew vaguely what to do. I was 100% safe and protected, and it was amazing. I think that more than makes up for ruining the mystery. 10 out of 10 would do again and again and again. Story 2. First serious girlfriend. After a month or two, I finally tried the accidental touch, which led to more. All right, this is actually happening, so a week or two later I go for more. Denied, but she rests my hand on the outside. Hey, I'll take it. Except I don't know what it is that I'm taking. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, I just wanted to see how far I could go. So after a minute or two of my hand just chilling there, she takes my hand. Oh, I'm supposed to move. Okay, got it. After a few minutes of that, she gives me the signal. I have a fun time until she reaches down and moves my hand over the actual place I should have been. My hand was on her leg the whole time. I can't blame him. That place is like Narnia. Story 3. I knew, but didn't know that the cat was inside the pelvis. So the first time I touched one, I was shocked that I was basically grabbing. That same spot on me is so inaccessible that I just didn't put it all together until I was there. And related, how far south it is. I kinda thought it was up front like my little buddy. Even having seen a few growing up, I just never realized the actual location and logistics of the whole ordeal. And I'm still fascinated by them. I'm like a spelunker, studying every crevice. It is so awesome. I've spent hours of my life staring at them up close. Damn, I'm so not gay. Maybe it's because I was born cesarean style. Never got the up-closeness. Story 4. How awkward it would be. Where to look. Making sure I don't make any embarrassing noises like the usual groans, etc. Big mistake there. Hoping there wouldn't be any noises coming from the parts in use. That was really awkward. And what to do afterward. I don't know what I thought should happen there. Maybe get to rest quietly in part with a formal handshake. And, nice doing business with you. I lost my V-card to a guy 4 years older than me, and he had plenty of experience before me. Not that it made him any good. He didn't give a crap about his partner, just wanted to get there and go, so he did. My first and subsequent moments were self-induced, even though I did have other partners, until I met my now husband 2 months before I turned 21. Also because of my hang-up, so we're getting sloppy. I wouldn't let a guy go there until I met my husband. I think the main thing I learned was to communicate during it. I don't mean chatting as such, more the case of, if she does something you like, let her know by the way you move as a result. If it's good, you definitely can't help that. Make sure you pay attention to responses too. That way you'll both be more confident and much better in bed together, and that goes for any subsequent partners you have too. It most definitely pays off in the end. Story 5. I'm a dude and I lost my V-card a few days ago, and I feel very angry with the education system in the UK right now. First of all, until I went down there, I had no idea what the anatomy was. I also thought P&V was the only way a girl could get there, that a girl nearly always gets there whenever it happens. I thought it would be easy to hold a chubby. So far, it's taken many attempts to hold anything for a good amount of time. They underestimated the amount of pregame involved and required. I didn't realize how much pausing to put on the rubber can ruin your mood, or how frustration can occur easily and break your self-confidence. But most of all, I didn't realize how naturally being vocal comes to you during the moment. It's awesome. Story 6. I always assumed it was the woman's job to guide my thing into hers. I hovered over my first time, and then I just waited, and she just looked at me like, what? And I asked if she could put it in, and she was all, you're a big boy, you can do this. Nowadays, my wife usually guides me. If not, it's a 50-50 chance of going in the right one. You're lucky to even get it on your 5th try. Story 7. I did not know that men don't always want it as often as I do. I've had a couple of partners and some guy friends have all told me that I, or their girlfriend, want it more than they do. I'm not sure if I and these few other girls are just weird, or this is some kind of social norm that men and women aren't willing to admit or talk about. I have a great spicy life, but it seems like I always wanted more often than they do. Does anyone else get this? At first I thought it was just a weirdo. But then I remember that it's been ingrained in me that all men want it at all times. I have to remind myself that this is BS, and sometimes people want it or don't. Story 8. I didn't know how insanely repulsed I was after it. It's unreal. The change in thinking. You go 1 minute so excited you could be getting frisky, then afterward you think, why? I don't want to do that again, that was totally pointless. Of course that desire always returns. Story 9. In entertainment, once the date has been done, rolled off one another and began to quip or fall asleep. I had no idea that cleanup would be required or that there would be an argument over who had to spend the night on the spot. That is a whole realm of etiquette we're never taught. There are things about my own anatomy I didn't know. I was 19 when I found out that all men's marbles hang uneven, women I feel really sorry for because I learned nothing about them in school, and my wife tells me she didn't either. Poor ladies. The first few months of that, I seemed to learn something new. I would casually ask friends things about it and they would either not know or how to answer or not want to talk about it. Talking about the specifics of this stuff between men I found out is sort of taboo. We don't care what happened, only that it did. We can then congratulate each other on it and move about our lives in blissful ignorance. All I ever learned from education classes were STDs. I used to think it was stupid to do it because that was how one came to catch something and whatnot. It seemed like such a big risk to me. Until I started, I didn't realize that there was a reason people would risk it. When I had serious questions about these things, I had no one to ask. I had to learn the hardware through internet research. Libraries are woefully inadequate when you were trying to learn about the female anatomy. Most of us just kind of trial and error our way through it until we're adequate and then give up. We can ask our parents, and while our friends, meanwhile, they're just as stupid as we are. We are adrift in this ocean of things we don't know about that age. Eventually, you just have to be comfortable with the fact that we're all different people, and we like different things. There is no standard form that every person will love, and bad experiences don't mean that you're a bad lover, unless you do not try to improve. Open up a dialogue with your partner and be honest with each other. That is the only thing that works. Story 10. I always thought that unless we really tried, all men would be done within 5 to 10 minutes. Then came the glorious event of my first time, and an hour and a half later, I've already gone numb, but just enough feeling to keep me going. I didn't really enjoy my first time or my second time for that matter. My girlfriend at the time was probably devastated, the poor lass. Turns out this is just something that happens to me regardless of who I'm spelunking. The fastest I've gone is 15 minutes. If it goes longer than that, the ol' lunch meat truncheon starts to go numb, and I have a bit of an uphill battle on my plate. I can just imagine this guy giving his little Jimmy a few taps accompanied by some sort of pep talk like, come on man, get your head in the game and go back in there and give them hell. Story 11. That many girls do not make the sounds that girls in films do. The high-pitched noise. When you make these girls really enjoy, they sound like a freaking werewolf. The first time that happened, I was shocked that this 5-foot flat girl could produce a noise like that. I thought I was under the sheets with a lumberjack for a moment. Story 12. I was 19, the first time anyone ever helped me out. We'd been together for 3 years, and he'd always wanted to try after a lot of coaching and problem solving. You figured out how to do it, and I figured out how to ask him for different things. Fast forward 5 minutes, I'm in the throes of a mighty end, my feet are cramping, he was still doing his best, and I farted. Right at the height of this whole thing I farted, loudly, 3 inches away from his nose. He took it like a champ though, and very slowly came back up, and quietly inhaled once he was away from it. We laughed about it later and he made sure I never felt embarrassed or ashamed. Story 13. That getting there is an automatic, especially for women, that I'm not broken if I don't. I thought there was something wrong with me for the longest time, because I didn't get there at all. And after I got to college, I hooked up with a guy who rocked my world, and I realized that there's nothing wrong with me. It's just that my previous partners were of the put tool and shed and everything will work out. Variety. Story 14. You guys could make your little Jimmy dance around and do sit-ups. After my first encounter with that, I had coffee the next day with my mom and squealed, "Mom, Mom, it moves on it soon." And after she chokes in her coffee, she cackles and squeals right back. I knew, isn't that weird? I love my mom. A little Jimmy doing sit-ups is the last thing I'd expect someone to talk about with their mom. If you think your little Jimmy can do more push-ups, then you leave a like in this video and subscribe to the channel. Story 15. Being the odd duck I am. The first time was with the one I'm still with. I was 24 and well-established in my own habits and happiness. So we started at it. I kept changing positions because muscles would start to bark or joints would go numb. Didn't get there. 2 hours after we started, she headed home, was still living at home, so Mom got home from school and woke me up in the afternoon and had to pee really badly. I ended up crawling down the hallway, bare keening with every motion. Then the unbelievable fire when I went. There's stuff in every girl that could cause you problems no matter how healthy they are. I've got no idea what gave me the stamina the first time. The next Monday she came over and done in 20 as we normally do ever since. 18 years. This stuff can be so different from what you're used to that your body doesn't recognize it. Story 16. There are several different kinds of it. There is the passion one where you cuddle and hug and cattles, etc. There is the rough one, or pregame is nowhere to be found. You start and get going. This could be from prolonged separations or what have you. This is the raw, primal version. There is the normal one, where are your two people and you want to, so there is some pregame but you both know where this is going. You get done and cuddle a bit, but then fall asleep, more like a duty version. There is the boredom one, what do you want to do for fun? I don't know, nothing on TV, let's just get it on, I guess. Okay, this is just two people who are bored. Also, I learned that it isn't always mind-blowing. On a scale of 1 to 10, most of it is going to be between 5 to 7. Also that a 1 or 2 isn't the end of the world. You just cherish those 8 9s even more, and when you get a 10, it's like winning a national championship, so hold on to it. Write it down and for God's sake try to videotape it. Story 17. It spawned leg cramps. They are the devil incarnate, I swear to God. 1 minute you're good and the next moment you're suddenly wetting out in pain, rolling around on the other side of the bed nearly in tears. Is the muscles in your legs mess you up harder than you ever thought possible? Freaking cramps. You have to hydrate. Before, during, and after. Remember to keep those muscle fibers hydrated so they can help you deliver the package she deserves. So if you drink water during it, you basically have an infinite energy source? Story 18. Some of the stuff comes back out of the girl, which is why I call BS during movies and TV shows where the girl just rolls over and gets dressed or just casually chills in the bed afterward. Sure, you can do it if you want your clothes and sheets covered. In one of the early episodes of House of Cards, 2 of the characters get under the sheets, and immediately after the girl reaches to the bedside table to grab tissue and reaches under the blankets to clean up. It's weird, but I consciously noticed that detail and was pumped about it. Story 19. It's not easy to get there. I'm a guy, and it's always hard for me to do so. My first time in about 30 minutes. It felt like something was wrong with me. I thought it would go away, but that was 8 years ago. Part of me hates it, and I envy dudes who can do that in 30 seconds. Some days I can, no matter how hard I focus. On the other hand, it can work to my advantage. Nothing like being with someone new for the first time, and absolutely having a good time for an hour and not getting there, especially if she's used to guys that always get there quickly. I just try to embrace it now instead of letting it bother me. Story 20. The fart noises. Sweaty chests pressing against each other makes fart noises. The wrong angle in an air pocket forms, which then makes a fart noise when it gets pushed out. Sometimes it's just regular old farts. That's where the ability to laugh with your partner and enjoy the hilarity of the moment comes in very handy. Happy laughing intimacy is better than serious non-laughing intimacy. Everyone should be able to laugh. It's supposed to be fun and enjoyable. Loud girlfriend plus fart noises? That sounds like an awkward breakfast at your parents' house. Story 21. The first time I learned about the results of a period was after the first time. We were pretty young in ditching confirmation school in the park nearby. We got frisky in a spiral slide, the whole time trying not to retch, she had failing miserably, and hoping I was doing it right. It was a nightmare. Since this occurred just after dusk, I had no idea what she had done to my face. That is until we went back to the church to wait for our parents, where my friend asked if I'd broken my nose in front of her. The next day I learned the girls of that time of the month. I also learned that I'd earned my Red Wings, and I knew she must have felt horrible about it, so I called her. Her brother answered and gave me all sorts of reasons why she didn't want to see me ever again, none of them including staining my pimply white face, the most adult shade of crimson. I also learned what it means to be a gentleman and was able to bond with my dad over it. Story 22. Okay, there seem to be a ton of comments now to safely bury this comment. You all live in a golden age of free, easily accessible grown-up stuff. The world I grew up in didn't have Cinemax soft films. I'd seen pictures. I knew all of the good bits and bobs. What I didn't know is how to work those bits properly. I didn't think it was supposed to go in and out again and again. So after many failed attempts, I finally found a girl willing to touch Slim Jim, and we snuck off to the bathroom. Neither of us knew what the hell we were doing. After a few cursory minutes of clumsy pregame, she successfully got us to start. When she went up, I went with her and held on to her for dear life. Try as she might, she was not getting out. She zigged, she zagged. I zigged and zagged right with her. I may as well have superglued myself right there. It was a little awkward. They thought they were safe, but nope. This made it here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy. Girls, how did you react to the first thing you've seen? Story 6 was kind of weird. See you in next video.